Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 in a best of 3 between Włochaty and Player in the semi-finals of the second European tournament. So today we are moving on to the finals. Those of you that have been following the second European tournament for the last month or so, and will be happy to know we are finally here after 5 rounds of a Swiss style tournament that has now led on to this knockout stage. Now, based on the Swiss style section of the tournament, we can announce that Gonzo came first overall with 4 wins and 1 tie in his series. Then we had Player coming second, Włochaty third, and Herr Robert was 4th. So today we're going to be seeing second versus third, and in the next series that I'm going to be showing you guys, the other semi-final, is going to be Gonzo versus Herr Robert. Now, the winner of those series will be moving on to the final. The losers will be going to a third place game. So plenty of high-class action to look forward to. All of these players are exceptionally good at the game, so we should have some really exciting matches on our hands moving forwards. You got to pick your sides, guys. Włochaty or Player, who are you rooting for? Let me know in the comments. Either way, today we are going to be seeing Colleville, and on the Allied side, we have Włochaty playing the 2nd Armoured French, which is a division we are familiar with him playing. Definitely one that he enjoys playing for sure. And then on the side of Player, he has chosen the 12th SS-Panzer, which personally I feel will definitely struggle against the 2nd Armoured in Phase A and moving into Phase B, quite simply due to the aggression that Włochaty can put out with the 2nd Armoured. So that is definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on. But generally the power of the 2nd Armoured does come in the beginning of Phase B when they gain access to their Shermans, and that can be countered by Panthers if Player decides to bring one in. He can get Panther Ds in Phase B, and those can definitely help cover the open ground, especially on the top side of Colleville here. Let's have a look at the deployment on the side of Włochaty. So he's going to be going for the flamethrower squads. This is quite a common strategy for the French, to use these flamethrower squads to cover the front lines. Going to be bringing in some recon there. He's also got the Nueve with some command, and there's also going to be the M8 Spy. On the top side, we see another M8 Spy with another Nueve squad. There's also going to be some more command, some more recon. There's an AT gun for the top side and some voltages. So it looks like a lot of these forces may be heading towards the mid, or maybe he will make a push through the top side, but it's pretty uncommon for players to push in the open early on, especially against something like the 12th SS, where there is the potential of a Beuter Firefly on the field. But either way, on the side of Player, he has brought in a Pak 38 for the top side. There is going to be a Panzergrenführer following that up, 250-10 with the Panzerschreck, and an Opel Blitz there with a wobbly wheel and the Panzergrens. There's going to be another Panzerschreck with the 250-10 and the Panzergrens. Then we see on the bottom side 2 units of Panzer Grenadiers with the Pak 38, Spätrupp with the recon there, and that's going to be the Panzer II-C providing 20mm autocannon cover. So this Pak 38 on the top side has got some work to do. If it can kill this M8, then it will definitely counter the push that the Włochaty has coming in on this top side. However, if the Pak 38 does not find the kill onto the M8 and the Pak 38 goes down somehow, then that could be a problem. Now, nice kill there for the M5 half-track, actually takes out the Panzerschreck straight away. The Spy were unloaded, so they revealed the Panzerschreck 2-man squad at range, even though they have very high stealth, and that allowed the 3-star 50 cal to just wipe them out. Now, on this bottom side, Włochaty really hasn't invested at all down here. He does have the M8 Spy that may be able to cover this off, especially against units like this half-track and the Panzer II. But if no infantry arrives down here soon, he could definitely lose control of this to the Panzer Grenadiers. Now at this point, players probably annoyed that he unloaded these, as he would most likely want to continue pushing forwards to gain hold of that salient. But let's have a look at what's going on the top side. The 57mm there, the 6-pounder takes out and a half-track on the top side. That's going to be the 250-10 going down. Panzer Grenadiers are trying to engage the Spy, and they're going to get pinned. The 250-10 also getting involved there. And may allow the Spy to get killed off, but the Nueve now going to be covering off. They do have an MG34 of their own, so they can definitely pin things down at range, and well, the M8 Spy is going to come in there and wipe out that 250-10. Pak 38 is going to take a shot at the M5 half-track and wipes it out. Włochaty's going to stop his M8 in its tracks to avoid that suffering the same fate. On the bottom side, Nueve coming in with some command just to cover off this salient, but Włochaty has made quite a lot of ground so far. He's got a +1 in his favour as these Panzer Grenadiers retreat. But the Pak 38s, they are picking off these half-tracks, and if he's not careful, they could do some damage onto these M8s. Now this Panzer track, it possibly will be revealed as the Nueve continue to push forwards. They're quite happy to engage the Panzer Grenadiers at this range from the tree line, I think, because they have the 3-star veterancy, which means they won't be pinned as quickly, and they also have the MG at their disposal, so that's going to be 8 HE that they can put onto the Panzer Grenadiers at range there, which is more than enough. Got to be careful that this AT gun, though, doesn't get killed off by the Panzer Grens. That's something that Włochaty will want to avoid. But 54% territory lead now for Włochaty. Now player, I think he kind of failed to capitalize on this bottom side, but honestly, due to the positioning of the M8, it did make it difficult for player to get aggressive, and he pulled back the 251 just because of this M8. He could have maybe started driving it around the bottom side to continue the salient, but as you can see, Włochaty has now brought in some infantry to stop this from being a problem, and that is going to give him the lead early on. So now Nueve with the voltages engaging the Panzer Grenadiers. You can see the Spy running forwards to provide that recon, and they're going to bump into the Panzergrenführer here, but the Panzergrenführer have their Kar 98 deactivated, so they're not going to be firing back just yet. Pak 38, without the support of the Panzergren and Panzergrenführer on the top side, could be in trouble, so a unit does need to come in up there, and a 259 may just do the job, especially if it's supported by that Pak 38. Will stop the M8 from actually killing it, whilst allowing the 259 to continue to engage the infantry, so that's quite nice. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, the half-tracks are engaging each other. The 50 cal should win, in theory. M8, that's going to be doing a lot of damage to these Panzergrens though, but Pak 38 in the mid, that's going to kill off the WC-52, but the Spitfire Mark 9 is going to be coming in for the strafing run. Panzergrenadier still falling back, taking a lot of damage. Nueve and the Spy and the voltages all pushing through this smoke that was provided by the Panzergrenführer. It's just trying to allow the Panzergrenführer to make a run for it, but unfortunately I don't think that's going to make too much of a difference, and here goes the Pak 38. That's going to get pinned down, and if it is pinned down, then the 259 is too late to the party, and the M8 can quite simply run down the Pak 38. So now the M5A1 that's going to come out on the bottom side of the tree line here. It's going to try and finish off the pin, but does get killed by the Pak 38. Nice kill there. Still a 2-star Pak 38 at the end of the day, and that range definitely allows the accuracy to be a factor. 259 going for the hit onto the Nueve, but as long as this Pak 38 is gone, the M8 should be able to engage the 259 just fine. So quite a interesting engagement on the top side. Very, very close. If this 259, I think, had arrived a little bit sooner, it may have been able to stop the infantry from pushing across the open ground here while still being covered by the Pak 38 if the M8 Spy came around the corner. So that was a little bit unfortunate there. Mistiming, I feel, for player. The right choice of unit, but just couldn't quite make it work in time. Panzer Grenadiers, they're dead. The M8 Spy can be extremely effective sometimes with its machine guns and its veterancy. Pioneers, they're going to get forced back for the time being by the Panzergrens. No way that they can make it across the open against Panzergrens. They do have those 2 MG42s at the end of the day, and the only way that you can find your way across the open as the French is to bring in a mortar to provide that smoke. Now on this top side, we can see the 259 has gone down. The M8 Spy, I think, made short work of that. And now there's a nice salient for Włochaty opening up on this top side. Voltages, in the meantime, they're pushing across the open. They've actually found their way towards this Pak 38 and have started to do quite a bit of damage to it, which is quite nice. Panzer II, that's going to finish off that WC-52 quite easily, supporting these Panzer Grenadiers. But there is another M8 Spy on the way, and that's going to be trying to help cover this bottom side against the Panzer II. Now Nueve, they're coming under pressure. Panzer Grenadiers and the half-track with the spear troop also getting involved there. That's going to force those Nueve back for the time being. Voltages should be able to stop them from surrendering as they fall back, so that is absolutely fine. 250-10, that's going to be engaging the Voltages here. Does find the Panzerschreck squad, which ends up pinning down the Voltages in the open. Best bet for Włochaty really is to use the M8 Spy to kill off the 250-10, but he needs to find a way to kill the Pak-38 first, or at least pin it down, because otherwise this could just one-pop his M8 Spy due to its low armor value. Now this M5A1, that's lucky it didn't die. The 20mm autocannon was getting side shots there into that half-track, so yeah, it does get away with that nicely. Spear troop were brought in a half-track, but the half-track went down to the M8. This Pak-38 is going to want to move forwards, or at least move out so it can engage the M8, and that's exactly what player is going to be doing. 250-10 does take a shot in the meantime, gets a track wheel damage, but the M8 Spy falls back as he does see the Pak-38 push out. So, on this bottom side, the Panzer II, that really needs to kill off this half-track, and then it also needs to engage the M8 at close range. If you can do that, honestly, player might be able to find a lot of ground on this bottom side, and accompanied by a couple of 259s could really make a huge breakthrough here. That may force Włochaty to bring in a Stuart though, and as soon as that happens, I feel like the 20mm autocannons just won't really do too much anymore. Go through it though with the help of the half-track to pin it down and surrender that Nueve squad. The Voltages had fallen back, the command, so that was no longer a threat. Nueve though, it looks like they've killed off, or something killed off, the AT gun that was pushing out. And that's left a lot of this infantry exposed here. That may allow the M8 to just run them all down, which is quite important on that top side. Player's got to keep these alive if he can, keep that Panzerschreck hidden so that he can continue that being a threat as he brings in more infantry to cover it. Here comes the Panzer II. That's actually going to get strafed by the Spitfire. The M5A1 half-track also having a go with the 50 cal. Pioneers, they're going to be pinned by the 250-10. New 250-10 comes in here. That's going to be taken out. Actually, that was, I think, the same one. Gets cleaned up by the M8. But with the spear troop and the Panzerschreck not providing any frontline presence, you can see the salient is forming, and that's a +2 in favour of Włochaty again. The 81mm mortar has come in on this bottom side. That looks to be going for the Pak-38 in this tree line. There is a second Pak-38 here, and that is going to be trying to take out that 50 cal. Having a look down here, it looks like the M8 Spy, or at least one of them, was taken out by this Pak-38 as well. So Włochaty losing a little bit of firepower in the mid, which has allowed this Panzer II to get aggressive. But now there is another one on the way, and those M8s are definitely something that you do want to focus on in the early game, because they are very mobile units. They have the 30 cal and 50 cal that can do a lot of damage. They've got decent veterancy, and all of that added up can make them formidable units in the early game, especially against the 12th SS, which struggles for armor value early on. Yes, you can rely on something like the Boy-to Firefly, but the Boy-to Firefly only excels really at open ranges, because at close range it's quite vulnerable. It can't really deal with enemy infantry approaching it very well due to having 130 cal, and it can't fire at AT either, so it has to be used at range versus armor. Nice kill though for the Pak-38, completely shrugged off the mortar fire that came in previously and ended up killing that M8 really, really well. One shot with the 2-star veterancy, very clean. Panzer II though, really nice position here. It can get plenty of kills. Going to go for the WC-52, wipes that out. Kill off the M5 half-track now. And then could probably just kill off a lot of this infantry if it had line of sight, but smoke coming down from those flamethrower squads is going to cover things for the time being. However, command isn't in trouble, and that is a mistake from Włochaty. He did not want that command to be taken out there, because that has left all of this infantry without any command, and that is a problem, because it could lead to a mass surrender if some artillery comes down onto that. And I believe the 12th SS can get their hands on something like a Panzerwerfer. So if a Panzerwerfer, for example, hit this area right now, that could lead to multiple surrenders. Also, if 20mm go ahead and get hammed, then they can also do a lot of work versus infantry. You'll see this Panzer II absolutely chew up this Nueve as it gets on target. Already down to 5 men, forced to fall back immediately. The Pak-38 there, it got pinned down by the 81mm mortar, allowing the M8 to actually approach that and start attacking it itself. The M4A376, that's going to be on the way now. We'll have to see if player can reply with the Beta Firefly, because this is a prime target for the Firefly. If the Firefly can get onto the M4A376, then that may be a way for player to get back into this game, because currently, with this +2 on the board for Włochaty, it is going to be quite difficult for player to come back. But he is the 12th SS, he does have quite a lot of firepower in the late game, so that may be something he can take advantage of. These Panzer Grenadiers, they're going to be trying to take on the voltages with the MG there. Pak 38 is trying to move back into this tree line in the meantime, and I don't think that Włochaty would have line of sight, since the infantry have been taken out and there isn't really much recon down here anymore. So this Pak 38 may be able to sneak up onto the M8 spy and get a kill there. Obviously the M8 will see it, but by the time it does, the Pak 38 will already be firing. The Nueve, though, they're going to find it, and that may be a dead Pak 38 as Nueve continue to fire with those M1 Gerads with that high veterancy. But the Panzer II is going to come around the corner, try and deal with those. It only has machine gun ammo left at this point, so it won't do as much damage as when it had the 20mm as well. M8's going to try and take out the 251 in the mid. Meanwhile, on the top side, we can see the Panzer IV is going to be trying to be aggressive. Oh, nice kill there, actually, for player. Does manage to take out the M8 spy with the Panzer Grenadiers. Really nice kill. But this Pak 38, that's gone down. Flampanzer is going to be approaching this M5A1 half-track. Looks like the 50 cal is actually going to get the better of the Flampanzer. The Flampanzer might actually go down here, because the 50 cal does do a lot of damage against those half-tracks. Panzer Grenadiers are going to get cleaned up, though. Beta Firefly is looking for this engagement with the M4A376, but the 76 M4A3 definitely has a very quick aim time, but if it's firing at some speed through, the reload may allow the Firefly to get the upper hand. This is going to be a very crucial engagement here, guys. I feel like whoever wins this could win the game, because if the M4A3 goes down, Włochaty will be in trouble, because he'll lose control of this top side completely. But as you can see, the M4A376, it aimed that little bit quicker than the Firefly, and that caused the kill to go in favour of Włochaty. Now an ME109G2 BR21 going to be coming in and trying to pin the M4A3 to allow a favourable engagement with the Panzer IV, but you don't want to be messing with that aim time at that range, and player knows that he's starting to back off. But it looks like player may lose the ME109, but this Spitfire actually ran out of 20mm autocannon unit, or the 20mm Hispano ammo, so that didn't happen. But meanwhile, on this bottom side, we can see the Panzer II, that's going to get taken out by the Sapeurs. Panzer Gren's reply with a kill onto a half-track. M8's kind of broken through here. Going to find these speed through, going to kill those off at close range, but here comes a Pak 38 through the tree line. The M8 spy should see that. Might kill it before it fires. No, it doesn't manage to. Shooter wounded. Pak 38 gonna get the job done. So M8 spy's gone down. There's now a Stuart for this bottom side though, if Włochaty needs it. And his half-track still providing a lot of presence here. That's just gonna get strafed to death by the P38 Lightning. Unfortunately for player, I think he's just completely run out of steam. Losing the Firefly there was really, really painful, and it's just completely allowed Włochaty to claim control of the game once again. Like, if the M4A3 had gone down and then the Firefly sort of could cut off the reinforcements down the middle of the map, that would have been a turning point for sure, because then things like the Panther Ds could have come in and secured that position. More Panzer IVs can come in on the bottom side and start to secure that as well. And basically it would get to a position where a player would just have more firepower overall to win. But at the moment, 10 minutes left on the clock until Włochaty takes victory, because he does still have a +2. He's pushing 62% territory lead, and he's putting a lot of pressure onto this Panzer IV. But player here, being sneaky, has his Panzer Schreck just out of line of sight. Look at him just sitting on the road there, other side of the Spey. And that could potentially lead to a kill here onto the M4A3 as it pushes around the tree line. He's got to bait that slightly with the Panzer IV, because otherwise the M4A3 has no reason to really push aggressively until infantry arrives. Panzergrenadier, they're going to be coming into the tree line there with the 2-star veterancy, opening up onto some Sapeurs at close range. That's not ideal because Sapeurs may be able to just get into the 100-meter range and actually use their grenades or their TNT, but Panzergrenadier are just going to smoke themselves off. Panzer IV, in the meantime, on the way to the bottom. That's going to be looking to clean up the M5 half-track that was pushing up. We see Włochaty, though, getting very aggressive here with some flamethrowers. If they can get into this building, they may be able to kill the 251 with that flamethrower ammunition. There's the Panzer IV, killing off that half-track on the bottom side. We see the Sturmpioneers coming in up the mid. They're going to be unloading and potentially taking out the Spy, honestly. And that would be a nice kill, allows the Panzerschreck to get into a better position there, for sure. But an AT shell from the AT gun there is actually going to pin down the Sturmpioneers, preventing that from happening. But now the half-track engaging the Spy. They do survive as the Spitfire Mark 9 comes in to help out. Panzer IV getting aggressive down here, but has to be very careful. The majority of the French infantry has bazookas in the late game. Like, you have Sapeurs or you have the armored LMG rifles, like sort of like longer range units. And Sapeurs are generally the favourable choice, so you do have to be careful of that, and Player's got his tank in a very dodgy position there. Can this P-38 shoot down one of the ME-109s? No, it cannot. That ME-109, or the double ME-109 strike, came in to give the Panzer IV an advantage against the M4A376, because it looks like the Panzerschreck has died here, so you would have to find another way to deal with all of that. Sturmpioneers, they're going to be forced to fall back. M5 half-track, though, that is going to continue to be aggressive. Try and pin down these Sturmpioneers, allow the Sapeurs and Pioneers to get the better. Sturmpioneers going to smoke themselves off, though, and try and get out of there. But look at this half-track, it's trying to run down the Panzer IV. If it can continue to get on top of that Panzer IV, it may force the Panzer IV to be behind enemy lines, and therefore it won't recover as easy. But look at this territory from Włochaty. He's just started to circle the remaining units on the map. The Panzer IV here is on its retreat due to taking a shot, I assume, from this bazooka. And that is not good news for Player, as he has now lost complete control of this town. And that just makes it very difficult to take back in the late game, because the 12th SS is not really known for their infantry availability. I guess neither is the 2nd Armoured French, but they have not taken so many losses in regards to infantry throughout this game. Player at this point is going to surrender after 19 minutes and 51 seconds. Very, very nice game there by Włochaty. Used that Sherman perfectly to break through and secure his victory in Phase B, which is exactly the power point for the French, whilst he made a lot of ground early on with the M8 cavalries. So that was, or the M8 Spies. That was a very, very nice game there for Włochaty. 1,385 kills to 1,060 losses. You can see the KD is pretty close, but the 12th SS just doesn't have as much staying power as the 2nd Armoured does in general, especially in the early game, and that's really where it mattered in this one. In terms of kills, Nueva took out the Panzerschreck and Panzergrenadier took out a Pak-38 there, but these M8 Spies, these are the MVP. They took out the 259 on that top side, took out that Pak-38. They absolutely demolish infantry with their high veterancy and those machine guns. You can see 2 Panzergrenadiers and a space troop there is really nice. The M4A3, though, coming around the corner and cleaning up that Beute Firefly was absolutely perfect. These M4A3s just work so well at close range. They have, I mean, M4s in real life, right? They had stabilizers, so their aim time is slightly better than most other tanks in the game, or every other tank in the game. I think they have 3-second aim time as opposed to 4-second aim time that the Fireflies and the Panzer IVs have. So that gives them that little bit of an advantage at close range. Same with like all of the other M4s, I feel, or I think. But yeah, either way, I think Włochaty used his units very, very well. And these Spitfires, they allowed him to pin down the Pak-38s that he could otherwise not pin down with like an artillery piece or his infantry. Like the ones that got away basically got strafed by the Spitfires. Although that is quite an interesting kill there. The Spitfire ended up killing the Panzer IV. I didn't actually see that happen, but that was a Spitfire strafing kill. These Pak 38s, I think a couple of them were managed quite well. This one that killed off the M8 Spy was decent, and having a lot of Pak 38s in order to counter the aggression of the French is pretty important. It's just, it seemed like the infantry was able to get on top of the AT guns when it probably shouldn't have, and the use of more 259s to counter the infantry would have personally been a better choice, because I think if like the Pak 38 is still active, it can cover the 259 against any engagements with an M8, whilst the 259 engages the enemy infantry and stops it from killing the Pak 38, right? So you are able to maintain that defensive position. Obviously, being aggressive with the 259 is not really going to work out too well, but I think as a 12th SS, you're definitely on the defensive from Phase A through Phase B, and then you want to come back hard towards the end of Phase B and into Phase C. But that's not quite the point where player could get to with this division. And that's it. So that is the first game in a best of 3 going to Włochaty. We'll have to see if player can bring this one back to 1-1, giving us a third game. But until the second game, hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.